So the phone rings at 2 a.m. and I was dead asleep in Hawaii with my family because in New York it was 8 a.m. And this designer is calling me freaking out. By the way, moral of the story is don't wait till it's too late. Call me now before you run into problems. But it was 2 a.m. and the factory had given her 5 hours to get her bolts of fabric. Now, when I say bolts, I mean each one was like this wide, tall bolts of fabric, custom made knitwear for very high quality goods. And the factory said, we want all of your goods out. We're putting it onto the streets of New York City in 5 hours from now. So she doesn't know what to do. She lives in a different state and she said, you got to fix this problem. And so now I'm remote. It's 2 a.m. and I think for the next, was it 6 or 7 hours? I was working, making phone calls, talking to people, getting everything together. And I remember sitting on the porch of our balcony, just watching the sunrise in Hawaii. It was beautiful. Also solving this problem. So a few things that I had to take care of was find a new place for her bolts of fabric to go. So since I wasn't there, I had to contact somebody to get them, remove them safely, make sure they're still in good quality, and got them over to a warehouse that I knew I could trust until I got back. And then once I did get back to New York City, I personally brought them over to a different warehouse so she could rent them long term. It was organizing everything that we had to do remote. And even if I was there, it was okay because I knew everybody to call. I knew all the steps that needed to happen, and I knew what kind of situation I was dealing with because I've done this before with factories where something goes wrong and they get in a mood and then they don't want to deal with it anymore and they say, hey, we're throwing your bolts of fabric onto New York City streets in 5 hours from now. So we got that solved. Lo and behold, I was very thankful. Everything worked out, but it was for sure a fabric fiasco that this new designer had to call me last minute. And I think that if we would have done it in advance, we would have worked together. I would have known the factories that we were going with, and nothing would have been a surprise like this.